Hey everyone. I figure this is probably a good time to bring this up, because numismatic and other collectible related crimes are up on the rise for whatever reason. It just so happens that things are getting pretty crazy. Now, you guys have probably seen my video a few days ago about the Rust coin um, dealer in Utah that ended up stealing over $200 million in an elaborate Ponzi scheme. Okay, that is extremely extreme, but there are a ton of other much smaller scammeries going on out there, and I wanted to take some time to talk a little bit about what examples of things are going on out there where they're trying to take advantage and game the system. Now, it's no surprise at all that a lot of these are happening off of what I like to call like e-commerce grids, eBay, Amazon, that sort of thing. Although you could probably try with a little effort to put up a fake account on either of those platforms and then wreak havoc. But those two companies were a lot more vulnerable 5 to 10 years ago. Okay, not so much anymore. They're a lot better than what they used to be. I mean, shoot, I remember the days where back in the early eBay days, early 2000s, where it was still an option to write out a personal check and send it off for your auction win. All right, no longer. Okay, that's come and gone a long time ago, my friends. But allow me to take a moment to kind of lay out the groundwork of some of the things that are going on, because this is not only affecting coins, currency, and precious metals. Precious metals is a big one, ladies and gentlemen, on a couple of different fronts. But any collective form of collectible, sports cards has been getting hit quite a bit here recently, especially transactions happening on Facebook. We might touch on that a little bit. We'll see. But any sort of valuable collectible, and this has come into a lot more prominence here in the last 2 years as the popularity just shot up through the roof during the pandemic. With all of the free government money going around, it was a lot easier for product to get out into the marketplace. Not just sports cards, but everything, coins, collectibles of every type and form was being targeted. And where there is a large like draw, kind of like a jet stream of cash going to those, there's going to be people over here observing, okay, these individuals that want to do some pretty unscrupulous things. And one good example of how people are taking advantage of these sellers on these social media platforms has a lot to do with how the payment is being transferred from one party to the next. Here, I'll give you an example. So, Mr. John Q. Customer has this Jefferson Nickel album for sale. Okay, it's full of coins, complete 100%. They're asking $50 for it. Okay, this is kind of like a example scenario. So there's pictures, there's photos on that particular BST site, which also stands for buy, sell, trade. And is someone who claims that item, they'll say INT, PM sent, which means personal message or private message sent. So a buyer would contact that seller directly to kind of work out the details of the item being sold. Maybe they want to see better photos, okay? Because this is something, again, I can't believe this is happening. I've seen a number of these here just in this last 7 days, where people are trying to sell coins, and then it's obvious photoshopping. But the one thing that you want to keep in mind when you're selling on these platforms, these BST sites, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, or whatnot, or a forum chat page. Okay, they have something called coin the image, and that's really just taking like a piece of paper, writing down your name and the and today's date. Okay, to help tie you to the item that you're selling. So on the seller side, that's what they expect. But when it comes to a buyer that's interested in this album right here at $50, they iron out all the details. Okay, here's the shipping. Oh, by the way, here's a few close-up images of the 1950D Jefferson nickel because it's the key date. I know you wanted to see that, Mr. Customer. And then, everything looks good. And at that point, okay, the seller who has a legitimate sale, a legitimate item that they are selling, gets to the crossroads of, okay, you want to buy it? That's great. I will only accept PayPal. And then another thing that a lot of these sellers are using a lot more today is Zelle and God, what's the other one? Cash App, which you really don't have any sort of protection if you use either one of those two payment methods, which is why a lot of people prefer to use PayPal. Now, there's that big question about the goods and services payment, which obviously, if you don't know the guy, or if you just want to run a legit business where you're tracking the money and you're getting pinged a small little fee, 3%, off of, say, $100 sale is only $3, okay? That's a small cost to do business online. Surely a heck of a lot better than selling on eBay at 12.9%. But where a lot of the tomfoolery happens is the buyer is requesting, okay, I don't have PayPal, but I have Zelle and Cash App. All right. And then they try and kind of like work it up all nice and, trying to be, this really great guy. And you don't know if their profile on Facebook's legit, even though, they're holding their baby and, all the other stuff. I've seen it all. And you just have to be really careful. Okay. The one tip that I tell a lot of folks, if you are going to be selling on these platforms, okay, you have to, without question, take two forms of payment. Either PayPal goods and services, so that way you're covered and so are they, or Venmo as goods and services as well, because PayPal owns Venmo. They're one and the same company. So what ends up happening here is the seller ends up selling it to this buyer, agrees to, do a Zelle payment or whatever it is. And what ends up happening is, you kind of get the big picture here as the buyer. Okay, come to find out that the person selling the album hasn't sent it at all, and it's been like a week. And then at this point, you're trying to contact them. You might still be, in a private message with that person, but things begin to get kind of dicey. All right. And then you continuously contact them and you contact them some more. And then all of a sudden they block you. And that's it. All right. So that's what's happening. A lot of that stuff. And the problem is if you're paying with Zelle or Cash App, you can't get any of that money back. As far as I know. And that's the primary reason why I don't ever use any of those two payment transfer services. As tantalizing as it is to use either of those, because it's like the money's like quicker, it gets to your bank account a lot quicker. So is PayPal, with a small fee. But both sides are certainly equally guilty and susceptible, either as a buyer or a seller. And you just have to be really careful. You have to pay for a goods and services with something that ties it to the goods and services. PayPal GNS, of course, is kind of like the best thing. Now, another thing that's been happening, and this almost makes me shake and quiver every time I talk about it because it happens on the daily, a trade. All right. I have this item that I'm interested in trading for that coin or for that. And I see a lot of weird, funny trades. Like someone would trade for example, PS5 for silver. I've seen it, and a lot of them have come out really well. The outcome has been fantastic. But there have been a number of those kind of like off the wall trades where they're not trading like a monetary instrument for a monetary instrument. They're trading like a consumer good for this, or they're trading a sports card for this coin. So there's a lot of weird, funky stuff going on here. I've seen a lot of people get burned from that, and I'm not particularly a really proponent of that type of practice, of trying to obtain items is by trading. I've been hit up more times than I could think of for trades. I just won't do it. All right. I've been burned a few times, but all it takes is that once or twice time, a long time ago, and that's it. I'm like, yeah, you're not going to fool me again. All the payments I send, goods and services. And if you screw me, I'm going to go ahead and get my money back. And, if the amount of money is way too high, that we're talking about here, like if that person stole a lot of money from you and they haven't provided any sort of physical item that they've sold you, that is criminal. Okay, that's a felony. I believe anything over $500 or $750 is considered a felony. It's like grand theft or something to that effect. But there are a couple of sites that I encourage you guys, if you think you're dealing with someone who is not quite on the up and up, there's a really great website called Numismatic Crimes. It's owned by Doug Davis, and it's numismaticcrimes.org. Okay, it's a great website that personally I would refer to on occasion. They keep you updated with all of the various things that have been happening, the various thefts and all, these deals gone bad where one person, took all the money but gave nothing in return. Again, there's been a lot of that lately, I would say here in the last month or two. It's really been exacerbated by tax season, among other things. But they also have a Facebook presence as well. They have a Facebook group. Doug posts on there all the time of things that have been happening, like, hey, be on the lookout for this. It was stolen from a coin show at such and such date. All right. So it's numismaticcrimes.org. But there is also, if you guys are a fan of Facebook, I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with being a member of social media. It's not my personal favorite to be on Instagram, Facebook, and all that stuff. But, you do get a lot of important kind of information by just being on there. And one of those places is going to be a group called the Official Numismatic Blacklist. For all of the, and I'll just go ahead and kind of post them below, all of these type of issues that people encounter, okay, they are free to post the people's names right in that website. It's got a really big, deep base of people. There's over 7,200 members on this. I'm one of them, by the way. So postable offenses are scams, shill bidding, non-ship of items, sales of fakes, which happens quite a bit, fake or alternate profiles, which happens a lot as well, fake payment scams, cross-hobby scams. So that's, again, cross-hobby is trading coins for sports cards, as an example. Limited RAS or no pay. RAS is simply just a contest that they run on various BST sites. Like they'll have a $500 coin, and you have the opportunity to win the coin if that seller breaks it down into 10 spots at $50 a spot. Then you could say, oh, I'll take two spots on there, and you either win or you don't. It's more gambling than anything else, but that's what a RAS is. There's also group and PM only, which means that they're posting off of the website or the Facebook group. No private, personal, and life issues. Life issues comes up quite a bit. There was actually one instance where, actually, call it crazy, but I was just reading up and down the official numismatic blacklist, and I actually saw it this morning, but I went back in here just to see if that post was still live in there. But a moderator of a BST site was selling a bunch of I don't know, cull or just not very nice looking Morgan dollars or silver dollars, and he had 80 of them. He was selling them for 33 bucks a piece. The person that posted actually ended up buying quite a few of them, if not all of them, and he didn't send it out. Yeah, and they were going back and forth, and yeah, he simply said, "Yeah, I needed the money, and yeah, I'll pay you back as soon as I can." And this is a moderator of the group. He was probably one of the people that actually started the group in the first place, which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is another way that people can't scam you, is by creating a buy sell trade Facebook group, which is very easy to do. It's free, for crying out loud. And then, you know, they build up kind of a rapport on there, like 3-4 months, you know, just building up enough testimony and enough people buying and selling on there that, you know, all it takes is like one big freaking score and they could take all your money away from you. So yeah, that's just one instance. It sucks, unfortunately. I mean, you know, if this person did buy 80 Morgan dollars at $33 a piece, do the math. That's quite a bit of money, and hopefully she gets her money back from that one. But there's quite a few. Yeah, the Stolen Valor is another one. People saying that they were at 9/11, or if they were in you know, in the Middle East, you know, during the Gulf War crisis, and people like lie through their teeth to try and you know, score something for either a little bit cheaper or what have you. Man, it's just, it sucks the way that people have to game the system like that. But you know, there's a lot of these things. At first glance, it seems like it's not that harmful at all until you get through the entire process and you're out money or you're out product. All right. Those are like two of the biggest fears when it comes to something like this, is when you lose and you have absolutely no way of getting your money back because you elected to pay, you know, you felt sorry for the guy. So you didn't want to, you know, send him a goods and services payment where it's a charge of 3%, for crying out loud, on $1,500, which is nothing. It's nothing. That's 45 bucks, guys. So always be safe out there. You know, make sure your method of payment to people off of the e-commerce sites like eBay and Amazon is going to be one that's safe for you. In the event that you didn't get your product, you can file a case with PayPal or whoever and get your money back. All right. You know, some would say, well, yeah, I could just call my credit card company. Well, as long as you pay with a credit card, you might have a chance of getting your money back. But don't particularly leverage that. Okay, make sure you're paying through PayPal. And who cares if that person's going to get dinged 3%? Again, that's the cost of doing business. If you're going to be selling on these social media platforms, you can't afford to pay these fees. All right, because at the end of the day, you're going to be getting a 1099 form from PayPal for all of these transactions that you conjured up. All right. So the 3% you want to show because you can write that off as a professional fee, you know? So why would you not want to take on that 3%? So yeah, it's pretty crazy. Go ahead and check out the official, it's called the Official Numismatic Blacklist on Facebook, 7,200 strong. And it's a great group. You get to, you really pick up a lot of learning lessons right away off of that group, because you get to see all of the shit that goes down and you're like, man, I'm never going to do that again, or that sucks. And it's a learning lesson for everybody. Okay, there's a lot of winners, but there's also a lot of losers in these. Just be safe. Okay, the price of coins continues to skyrocket. There's going to be people that are going to take advantage of you. Be safe. All right, but that's going to go ahead and do it for this one. You guys have a pleasant evening. I'm Sean with Blue Ridge Silverhound, and it's always a pleasure, man. And ladies, see you later.